Once again. Stay there. Where'd I go? What'd I do? That side? That side. Yeah. Which hand I go with? Far hand, the outside hand. Okay? Or the same hand. Could I do the cross hand? Yes, I could. I just didn't. So I'm seeing inside. I'm seeing outside but the opposite hand. All of those are slightly actually more difficult. I'm giving you the easiest one to do. This is like shaking hands position. And then when he comes, I open up. This is the easiest one. Okay? The others are harder. Because if I'm going to fit this hand in, I actually have to move here and then bring the hip back in. And to have space to do that, I needed to have moved out just a little more. So we start getting into, how am I getting that hip in without him seeing me make that move? So I suck him past me. So faster, I'm bringing him in, and then I'm out here. Can I do it? Yeah, I know how. Most of you guys, if you're pulling that off, he wasn't trying to hit you. Because it's actually tricky to do that one. Okay, does that make sense? How can I do a full triangle movement and not have him see it? I got to really mess with him to do that. This one, this is the tomoe, the big part of the drip out to the point. All I need to do is run the big part of the drip. We were talking about this. There's no escape. I'm not moving out of the way of this attack. Most people, they want to get away. I'm going to the center. I'm going to the center. I'm going to the center, and I rotate. Rotation resolves conflict. But that was a pure entry. I just spiraled it. So the part that was going in was also the part that got me out of the way of the strike. There was no off the line trying to get out of the way. It was all in, but it was in with rotation. Okay? This is the easy one. Don't try and make this nicer than it already is. This is the nice one. Okay? What people do here is they don't want to come dead center. So they get out of the way and they put the arm out. If I block that, I now have the technique we were just doing. Okay? The counter for this is hijinage. So it's like, guy comes in, you go, here, throw me. Dead center. If he blocks it, the worst that happens is that you're not deep enough. And when he blocks it, then you rotate and you have another technique. That's the worst. Because as long as I have good structure here, even if he blocks it, he's not taking this away from me. And usually what happens is I'm moving through him so solidly that his attempt to block it simply means, and he should. I mean, he should put his hand up here. Don't train martial artists to be stupid and have that down there while something comes at their face. No one's going to do that. They're going to try and protect, and they should. What I was taught was I was supposed to try and protect, and if I got that hand up there, then that hand acted as a spring to help shoot me to the floor when he moved through me, so it wasn't my face doing it. I don't actually care. I'm not changing what I'm doing. But if he does get it up and I wasn't quite deep enough, this isn't behind me. And the moment I feel this barrier, Juji, Riminage, okay? Water's flowing down a stream. When it hits a rock, it does not sit there and push harder on that rock. The moment it hits a barrier, it finds the path of least resistance. So, worst case, if I do this properly, I'm already behind him. So he comes, I'm already back there. And he'll just break. If I wasn't deep enough with my attention, the worst case is he blocks it, now I rotate. Now I have something else. That's your worst case because your alignment was good. But the moment you do this, what's this look suspiciously like the Ikkyo we were just doing? So if you don't take the center If you don't have the intention to take that line, you're actually pretty much giving him a technique. Okay? This is the nice one. The nasty one's where I pop him and knock him out, or hit him in the throat. Boom! See what I mean? That's the real one. So when we did this was the nice one. So really do it. Take that thing. Don't stick him in the eyes with your fingers. Take this and put it through his head. Okay? You do a little bit of this, and pretty soon everybody knows it's coming, and they start coming in like this. They're not really doing the strike anymore. Okay? So you need people. We were talking about the whole idea that Yukemi doesn't amplify, doesn't anticipate. You're in the present instant. So if the hand's there, you kick the feet out. If the hand's not there, you don't kick the feet out. That way, you can start playing with this. If I'm in the space, he needs to vacate. Great. But if I'm not in the space, he doesn't necessarily need to. But he has to pay attention to it. So then some of the things you can do are things like, if he comes in for that punch, I'm going to cause a little bubble in his timing. So what I do, I did the same thing that we just did energetically, but I didn't do the spacing. So this went out, hit him with the energy. It had all the structure of a real strike, but I changed the spacing. That catches his mind. By the time he goes, oh shit, I didn't actually get hit. Because his brain goes, uh-oh. Okay? The energy that's in front of the physical punch hits you before the physical punch does. How do you know this? We have the ability to read this. If there were a big plexiglass wall, perfectly clear between you guys and me, and you knew it was there, if I took a baseball and threw it as hard as I could at your face, even knowing that that thing was there, I guarantee you'd blink or flinch. If I just lofted it to you, you'd probably be able to stare right at it. And what does that tell you? It means we have the ability to read the energy that something incoming is carrying before we're hit with it. I don't have to be hit with it and go, oh, that was really hard, and oh, that wasn't as hard as I thought. We can read this, okay? So what gets people, what catches their center typically, is not the hit. It was the column of force in front of the hit, the intention. The guy hits you with the intention before the punch ever hits. So now I'm playing with that. I'm going to hit him with that. That freezes him for a second. Now I can do the Kodagai. This is way, way easier. I'm putting another cool principle that you can play with. You know about waves and an oscilloscope. So, in phase, out of phase. Does everybody know about that? Waves that are in phase and out of phase? So a lot of your basic training, your most beginner level training, is about being in phase. He comes, I vacate, he comes. We're in phase, we're matching. The Japanese term for matching is a wase. So when you first start training, you're training to learn to match somebody. That's how we learn how to connect, to flow with them. We're trying to match, especially like when you do weapons forms. Nobody's trying to win in a form, because if I beat him on the second move, we don't get 5 moves. So we're actually purposely, my move sets up his move sets up my move, and we can do the form. That's a wase. When you go to fight, you'd really like them out of phase with you. Because at that point, you're there and they're not quite there yet. Which means it's too late. So if I want to do the Kodagai, instead of going and doing the perfect match, I'm going to put a little bubble in his timing. Right there. See him? That little pulse? That's when I put him out of phase with me. A temiwaza is largely for the purpose of putting him out of phase with you. Okay? One there. Even just the threat of it. He's coming here, boom. So you might still throw the punch, but there's a bubble in it. Then I disappear. Then there's another bubble, and then I throw him. If you can mess him up like this, you're keeping him out of phase. And the reason that's important is because if he's not out of phase, it's easy to reverse him. So the uke's goal is to try and match him. I attack, and the moment that didn't work, if I can match him, I can be with him. Yeah, he's got the Kotegaeshi, but I have him. He doesn't want to let me be there. I would like to be. So eventually it's a battle. If I can put him out of phase with me, I can have him going down, and he's not ready to be able to touch my center because I put him out of phase. If I can stay in phase with him, then no matter what technique he does, there's a point where I can take it. So I'm not resisting here. He's got the ikkyo. It looks, oh yeah, great, there's the ikkyo. Inside that was this, because I was in phase with him. That's why in the fighting version, they broke your ribs before they did the technique. That was the atemi we were talking about. Because if he lets me match him and I'm any good, if we both know the same thing, we can go back and forth on this stuff, okay? Even in a fast interaction, there's usually time for 2 or 3 spirals before somebody's done. Weapons, usually only 2. Like if we come together with sword, okay, and I go to hit his sword away and he evades it, when we're going fast, there's time for 1 more spiral before somebody's dead. Either he had it or I had it, because it's so fast. Empty hand, often there's time for 2 or 3 back and forth before somebody's got the other guy. I'd like it to not have 2 or 3, but the reality is sometimes there is time for another counter. So say I throw this punch and he goes to block it. See, you're bouncing off me. Just brush it by. Not that far. Remember, we had this discussion last night. The intelligent, just brush it by. So you can keep that line. So he brushes it. Inside that, there was time for another spiral before we... Did everybody see it? Out, back, now it's in. So this basic stuff we're doing about how to connect is just eventually a preparation for being able to run these things off any contact point. I'll throw a punch at him. The moment he touches it, I'm rebounding. I caught his ikkyo curve. No, just we're going slow because, of course, you can do that, but try and keep it faster. Put that foot back where it was. He blocked it. Okay? What's he want to do? He wants to block it and then hit me. I take that. There it was. Then I'm just going back and forth. I didn't plan that one. It was based on how we came together. Does that make sense? That's eventually what you're doing if you want to get to the point where you can freely apply this stuff. What we're currently doing is more formalized practice. So we went, own the line, and take it so he can't even complete the strike. Now, put a bubble in his timing, which means this can't be the arm of death. It has to be actually receiving by the time I touch. If you're going out and then you do this, you set him and he punches with the other hand. I want to go already over here and in there. He tried to block it. I don't care. Okay? So out and return. Try it. We're almost done here.